Hi guys, it's Nora. Welcome to my first video blog. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing my friend and colleague, Richard Carsey.
Hello world.
So Richard and I actually met in Syracuse.
Yes, we were doing the Mikado together at Syracuse Opera.
Yes, and we had a lot of fun.
Yes, and I was conducting the show and Nora was in it. She was also, you were a young artist there?
Yep.
Right.
Yep, and I was doing Pity Sing, so.
Right.
And can you tell us a little bit about your job, your current job, and what you've done?
Yes, currently I am a conductor at Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. I was the artistic director for 8 years of a place called the Skylight Opera Theater in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've done several different national tours I did La Caccia Full, I did Phantom on tour, and now I'm working with Phantom in New York on Broadway.
Oh my gosh.
It's very exciting.
Do you love it?
Of course. I mean, please. It's a Broadway job. It's fantastic.
Well, one of the things I love about you is that you really understand the classical vocal traditions as well as the Andrew Lloyd Webber style of not only singing but of music as
right.
well.
Well, I think that's why I'm uniquely suited to this particular position, and I'm very lucky to be here.
So tell us, what are some things that you would like to dispel about Phantom of the Opera?
Well, I mean, yes, things to dispel about Phantom of the Opera. Well, it's not an opera, but it is a music theater piece that is set in an opera house. And because it employs, there are characters who are opera singers and who have operatic voices. For a Joe audience member who's maybe never been to an opera before and never encountered voices with this kind of ripeness and plum around it, it feels like they're having an operatic experience. It is a very grand thing, and it is a world that exists outside of, that feels grander and more, what's the right word?
Well, it's such a spectacle, the whole
exactly.
show, because you've got the ballet, you've got the opera singers, and then you throw in the musical theater aspect of it too.
Right. It feels like it exists in the world of high art.
Yeah.
And I think that's why some people in the audience feel like, oh, well, I'm going to an opera, and you actually see a lot of people get dressed up to see Phantom of the Opera in a way that they wouldn't necessarily get dressed up when they go see Wicked. And that's great. That's totally terrific.
Yeah.
But it is a piece that bridges the two worlds of music theater and opera. It employs voices that, Christine's voice is a little more of a music theater voice to the audience's ear. It then has a little more freshness, a little more natural feel to it. And supposedly that is also the thing that attracts the Phantom to her sound. And Carlotta and Piangi and the ensemble in general sort of exist in this operatic world, and very knowingly so. You need to have an operatic voice to sing those roles. And then there's the managers who kind of exist in between the two. They need to hit all of the notes, but they don't have the same operatic requirements.
Yeah. Now, your band is really big, the orchestra. It's the biggest on Broadway, right?
Yes, yeah. It's a 28-piece orchestra. And kudos to the producers for committing to that and staying with it for nearly 30 years. And
do they tour with 28 pieces as well?
No, the tour that I was on, it's a 14-piece reduction of the original orchestration, with the intention that it invokes all of the same kinds of reactions, but there's fewer brass, there are and fewer strings, there are different accommodations for the road.
Now, what is your favorite part in Phantom to conduct, and why?
There's a lot of things in Phantom that are really, really fun to conduct, but my favorite part is the last 15 minutes when all hell breaks loose. And once the Phantom is revealed, from there to the end, it is it really requires, the show can't happen without the conductor. And there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things to keep track of, and a lot of cues to throw while you're still doing all of the storytelling that is required. And that feels like, this is really muscular and great and fun, and that last 15 minutes just to conduct it just flies by me.
Oh, how cool. Have you ever been hit by the chandelier?
I've never been hit by the chandelier. No, it has never happened.
Have you ever swung from a chandelier?
Well, only not in the theater.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, Nora.
Oh
Thank
my
you for having me
gosh.
here.
I love you. Thank you.
Thank you
All
for
right.
watching.
Thanks for joining us.